college athlete. What's the most important thing right now is to focus on these 5 different points: heart, passion, dedication, academics, and skill. You know, a college athlete is a lot different than a high school athlete, so you have to really think within yourself and within your own student if you have what it takes to be a college athlete. And these are 5 very important parts to be a college athlete. Do you have game? Okay, when we talk about game, we talk about the grades. You need grades to be admitted to college. First, you're a student. Second, you're an athlete. You have the ability to compete at the collegiate level. Okay, like I said, a lot different from high school. Motivation to find a college that fits you. Okay, it takes a lot more than just walking onto a team. We need to go out there and we need to research. And exposure to college coaches, whether it be with club teams, with high school, with showcases, and we'll touch on that a little further in the presentation. Okay, so right now, what do you need to do? I know we've all heard of either the clearinghouse or eligibility center. We need to get onto that site and become familiar with the site, because we need to start filling out forms at the end of our junior year. And it was originally called the clearinghouse. It's changed the name to the eligibility center. And then once you take the SATs for the younger, the parents of the younger students, we haven't gotten there yet, but if we're a junior, if we're a senior, get our SAT score sent to the eligibility center so you then become approved to be a college athlete. The center code is 9999. Division 1 requirements. This is on the handout I handed you as well. The front is the requirements, the back is the sliding scale, which I'll touch on in just a minute. Okay. 16 core courses. They're listed on the front of your handout. They need the appropriate SAT score with the appropriate GPA. So that's where the sliding scale comes into effect, okay? The higher your SAT score, the lower your GPA needs to be. The higher your GPA, the lower your SAT, and vice versa, okay? The sliding scale is there as a good visual for you to, base your information off of. 10 core courses must be completed by senior year. The core courses: math, science, social studies, and English. Okay, and the minimum core GPA of a 3.2. Now, when I say core GPA, I'm not talking about phys ed or your electives. Okay, the core GPA is the 4 courses, and that gets recalculated by the NCAA. So just because we have straight A's in all of our electives and say, C's or D's in our core classes, we still may not be eligible, even though our GPA fits. So the NCAA, just to reiterate myself, is 4 core classes. And that needs to give 2.3 GPA, okay? So that sounds a little confusing. And here are the requirements: 4 English, 3 math, 2 science, 1 additional year, okay? So like we said, 3 years of math. So we, as counselors, we recommend our students take 4 years of math. That's the 1 extra year. 2 years of social studies, and then 4 additional core courses, and that does include foreign language. Okay? That's on the handout that I gave you as well. Division 2 requirements, they differ a little bit from the D1. Okay, still 16 core courses. The GPA now needs to be a 2.0 instead of a 2.3. The SAT requirement is an 820, and the ACT sum score is a 68, okay? So there is no sliding scale. So as you see, the sliding scale only says D1. Now for Division 2, all you need are those minimum requirements. The sum score in the ACT, some of us may be looking at that saying, the ACT doesn't even go up that high. How can we get a 68? Okay, 68 is your 4 sections combined, so you can get a 17 on each of the 4 sections of the ACT and still be eligible to play. Okay, no sliding scale. And here are the Division 2 requirements. You can just read through them. A little different than D1, but you should still be okay, going through our curriculum here at Sal to be eligible to play. Okay, Division 3 requirements. There is no NCAA Eligibility Center involved with Division 3 athletics, okay? The only thing you need to do to play D3 athletics is you must be academically eligible within the institution, within the college you decide to go to. Okay, so it makes it pretty simple. There are changes as of August of 2016. On the back of the handout that you have, there's 2 different columns. Okay, one says prior to August of 2016, and one says after. As we see, the GPA minimum raises from a 2.0 to a 2.3, and the SAT scores just differ a little bit. Something to keep in mind. And now, 7 of the 10 core courses must come from math, science, and English prior to senior year. Okay? Division 3 overview. So when we're looking to go to college for a sport. D1, we think maybe of the big schools, and a lot of times when we think of the big schools, maybe we're fans ourselves, and they spend a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money on making the fans happy. When we go to Division III, a lot of their energy is spent on the college athletes' experience, okay? It's no longer for the fans, as, your big, Penn State reppers, whatever it may be, they focus on the fans. But D3 is more focused on the student athlete, okay? That's important when you're deciding, what division you're looking into. Contact with coaches. I know this looks like a lot of information on the PowerPoint right now, but this is probably information that you guys are going to find most useful for tonight. Okay. I'll go over this a few times and write down any questions if you have about this. Athletes at any age, okay? No matter if you're a freshman up to senior, you can contact any coach at any time, okay? By email, by phone. If a coach picks up the phone, they can talk to you. If you leave a message, they cannot call you back, okay? You can email the coach at any time, and the coach can email you back. However, they cannot be formally recruiting you at this time. So they can email you back with, thank you very much for showing your interest in us. Please fill out the player questionnaire on our website so I can get information for you. But they cannot actively recruit you, okay? Still, I would recommend putting your name out there, giving the coach the information that you have, just so that your name's floating around, just so when time comes that they can formally recruit you, they know that you're out there. September 1 of junior year, the coaches can now start initiating recruiting with you through email, no phone calls, okay? Again, you can call them, and if they pick up, you can have a conversation, but the conversation can flow consistently through email, and they can be recruiting you. Junior year, you're allowed to now go on official visits. The conversation has to be set up through email. If an official visit is set up, the coach can contact you unlimitedly 5 days prior to the visit. Okay, I know that's a lot of information thrown at you. July 1st, after junior year, now the college coaches can begin calling you once a week. Okay, again, email is unlimited. You can call them unlimited, but they can only call you once a week. Okay, I know that's a lot. If you have any questions, just write them down, and I'll answer them towards the end. Okay, now if we're not recruited, if July 1st of our junior year rolls around and we're not being recruited, how do we get our name out there, right? Many students aren't recruited prior to junior or senior year. Those who are, we consider blue chip athletes, okay? I'm sure we've heard of that term before. And those who are not, they need to market themselves. How can we get our name out there? Like I said, contacting coaches, going on showcases, anything to get your name, get your face out there, that you're an athlete and you're willing to play and you want to play at the college level. So the athlete questionnaire that I was talking about, when you go onto the athletic website, this is just an example, and you go to, say, soccer page, okay? There'll be a bar on the right-hand side, left-hand side, wherever it may be, and it'll say player questionnaire. Click on that, fill it out, and that gets sent to the coach, and that will give you basic information about who you are, where you come from, maybe some statistics that you can give them, anything like that, but to get your name out there. I would highly recommend doing that. Check the schedule, check the roster, see how many seniors are leaving that year, that maybe you can fill in a spot. Okay? Do your research on the school and see what you can understand from the school so you can, see yourself maybe at that school in years to come. How do you get noticed, okay? And when do we get noticed, okay? I think it's very important for you to prepare a list of colleges that maybe fit your interests, okay? What I think is the best way to go about this, say you're a soccer player. For instance, I was field hockey, okay? So what I did, I wanted to play Division I, right? Coaches were contacting me. I created a list of all Division I schools. I wanted to stay kind of on the East Coast. Field hockey's mostly on the East Coast to begin with. I know I'm kind of a homebody. I want to stay by my parents. So I created a list of all Division I field hockey schools on the East Coast. And then I narrowed it down, okay? What do they have? Do they have my major? Do they have, what's their roster like? Can I fit into that roster? Prepare a list of colleges for you. Check the school's academic standards on Naviance to now narrow down. If we don't know what Naviance is, that's a whole nother presentation, but that should be a word that's familiar to you. Maybe have your students fill you in on that if you're not sure what that is. Run your list past your coaches, high school coaches, club coaches, anything to get a better understanding. Counselors if they have a background in sports. Prepare an athletic resume. Totally different from the resume we're going to submit to colleges. You know, athletic resume, we can Google search athletic resumes and get examples for us, but you know, give statistics, give information. If you're a runner, give some, you know, some of your times. Attend showcases and clinics. This is usually done on the club level, so get involved in the club teams. Have film ready to give college coaches. College coaches are so busy with, you know, dealing with their own team at the moment, recruiting, setting up game schedules, setting up, you know, their budget and all that. If you are able to give them a film of your play, it's going to be a lot easier for them, so they don't have to travel to see you play. They can see you play, you know, in the comfort of their home. And return any correspondence promptly as if we would be on an interview, okay? Or as, you know, we're going for a job. You're going for a job, you're going for a spot on their team, okay? Let's treat this as if it's an interview, as if it's a job that we're going to after college. Walking on. Now, if we are not recruited, like we said, a lot of students are not recruited. There's always the option to walk on. I know this term probably sounds very familiar to a lot of you. There's positives and negatives to walking on. Okay, positive, or let's do the negatives first. You have to go through a tryout. There is the possibility that you will get cut, you know, depending on the size of the team, how many kids are looking to take in, and you probably won't get scholarship for your first year because scholarship money is already handed out. However, positives that will come with walking on, you get the experience of being on a college team that you weren't recruited by. There is a possibility for scholarship after your first year depending on how successful you were. Okay, so just because you went in first year and you didn't get scholarship, that doesn't mean that your scholarship will never come. There's still a huge chance that you can get scholarship the next year. You come in as a walk-on and you get a lot of playing time, you produce what they're looking for, they may offer you a nice scholarship. Okay, just because you come in with it doesn't mean you won't leave without one. And you get the opportunity to be a college athlete. You get that full collegiate athletic experience, which is, you know, I can talk for hours about that. It was the best experience of my life, and I hope it will be the best experience of your life or your student's life, because it is an opportunity to, you know, not only be the best athlete you can be, but be the best person you can be from what college athletics teaches you. You know, the sense of maturity you gain from having to manage your time from 6 a.m. practices to lifting to class to, you know, everything else, study hall, I think it's really important. So it gives you that opportunity to get that experience. What coaches look for on a visit? Like I said, this is an interview for you, okay? Maybe an informal interview, but it's like an interview. You want to show up early, and this, what I have in parentheses there, is a saying that I will live by for the rest of my life. If you were on time, you were on time if you were early, and if you are late if you were on time. Let me say that one more time. You were on time if you were early, and you were late if you were on time, okay? Practice starts at 6 p.m. You show up at 5:45, you're cutting it close. You know, you show up at 5:30, you're good. You show up at 6 o'clock, don't even show up, go home, right? So same thing goes with the interview. You want to make a good first impression. Show up early. The student, make sure the student is prepared to ask questions. Make sure the student knows about the college. Make sure the student knows about the program, you know, their record, their conference they're in. Know the conference, that's huge. Coaches want to know that. Email shortly after the meeting with the coaches, okay? Thank them for their time for meeting with you. Show your interest. Express how much you want their school. Sell yourself. That's so important. Helpful pointers. Okay, like I said, you want to show enthusiasm, you want to show interest. Coaches want players who want them, okay? If you're saying, hey coach, listen, I'm willing to do anything it takes to be on your team, they're going to want that player. You know, if it's between you and another player who's maybe a little bit more skilled than you, they're going to want the player who's all in, who's on board from the start, okay? They don't want the players who, you know, maybe are, you know, their mind's somewhere else. They want the player that's all on board. Keep your coaches up to date with your active athletic and academic progress, okay? Shoot them an email. Don't be afraid to call coaches. Don't be afraid to email them. You know, they're normal people as well. They want to know how you're doing. They want to know if you just, you know, got selected to be, you know, in the National Honor Society. They want to know if you just, you know, aced all your midterms or all your exams, whatever it may be. Fill them in. They're people. They want to know about your accomplishments as well. And don't be afraid to brag about yourself. It may be a little bit uncomfortable at first, but do it in a way that shows, you know, I'm really proud of my accomplishments and this is what I'm willing to give to your program. When you go for a visit, you want to watch a practice, okay? You want to see what the practice is like. You want to see the coaching style. You want to see the atmosphere. You want to see the intensity of the practice. You want to see how the coaches relate to the players, and you want to see how the players relate to the coaches. How do they respond? Think about it. In a year or 2 years or 3 years, you're going to be at that practice wearing their pennies, wearing their jerseys, responding to the coaching, okay? So can you picture yourself on that field or on that court or in that pool or on the track? Okay, that's going to be you in a few years. Can you actually picture that? That's so important. And meeting the team, when you go for this visit to the school, try to have the coach set up a time that you can actually be with the team one-on-one or be with the team without the coaches there, because the way the team responds without the coach is so important. If you see the team is acting one way with the coaches there, the coaches leave and it's like a free-for-all and it's not the same, you may question, do I really want to be a part of this team? If you see the atmosphere is consistent with the coaches there, not there, hey, that looks like a pretty good program, Can you see yourself a part of the team? Keep that question in your mind at all times, okay? Picture yourself in their shoes. Picture yourself in their dorms, in their dining hall, in the social setting, okay? Picture yourself on the campus. Evaluating the school. After each school, I like to see visual. I'm a very visual, learner, everything I do. So after I would visit the school, I would create a pros and cons list. From as detailed as I didn't like the chicken nuggets at this school, and the turf was a little too, whatever at this school. Be critical about the schools. This is going to be your next 4 years, 5 years, whatever it may be, okay? Be critical. Create a pros and cons list, from coaches to, the dorms to the team, whatever it may be, but create that list. And that's gonna help you narrow down when you're stuck with, 2 decisions at the end, where do you wanna go? That pros and cons list will come in hand. Like I said, it will help eliminate the schools, and something that's so important, and I'm guilty of this myself, we'll look at schools because we love the team, we love the coach, we love what it has to offer, but in reality, they don't have the major I'm looking to go to. We're student athletes first. Don't get caught in a situation where you're going to a school and after graduation you're stuck with a degree that you don't really know what to do with. Like I said, you're student athletes first. Go for the major, look at an ambiance for the majors, what majors the school offers, and then narrow down your list with that, okay? If you're undecided, that broadens the spectrum of colleges, but still, kind of have an idea of where we're geared towards. If we're geared towards teaching and the school doesn't offer teaching, we might want to, reconsider that college and look somewhere else. Athletics will only take you so far. We're there, for the academics. The importance of academics, okay. What I'm going to say here might sound a little confusing, so I'll break it down. Like I said, fully funded schools versus partially funded schools. An example of this. Fully funded schools could be, Penn State football. They're a fully funded program. They have X amount of full scholarships to give amongst the whole team, and for the most part, the majority of their players get full scholarships. Partially funded programs, I'll use this as an example of where I came from. My college, we only had 4 full rides to give out amongst the whole team, 23 girls, okay? Fully funded field hockey programs have 12 full rides to give out. So they can give their whole starting lineup a full ride, and then the rest can be walk-ons. Where I was from, we had 4 full scholarships to give amongst the 20 girls. So you really have to break it down and use strategy when you're recruiting. We want the girls who have high academics, so they get the most academic money, so we can then spread our money amongst the team, and we don't have to give a whole full ride to one girl because they didn't get any academic money. So I know, the mindset of some athletes is, I have athletics, I'll get athletic scholarships. In reality, you're more likely to get an academic scholarship than you are athletic, okay? It's never a bad thing to get high GPAs and high test scores, because that will only help you in the end, and that may even open up more doors, more college doors than, if you didn't have the grades. So definitely focus in on the academics and your test scores. Do the best you can on the SATs, ACTs, your GPA, because that's going to help you get the most scholarship possible. And remember, your search is not easier or harder, it's just different, okay? Keep all the doors open, and by doing that, we need a lot of, advocate for yourself. Reach out there, have the uncomfortable conversation by, emailing a coach for the first time or calling a coach. Like I said, they're people, so they know how difficult it may be for high school athletes to contact someone who's, higher up than them. Don't be afraid to contact them, though. That's, that shows that you're willing to go out there and you're willing to market yourself. Like I said before, academic scholarships are more likely than athletic scholarships. May open up a door, but you want to find the right fit. You want to see yourself at that campus. Okay? These are some things that kids don't really still think that apply to them. You still need to apply to the college, and the coach isn't the one that will admit you. Admission still has to get your application. You still need to pay the fee to apply. You still need to do your essay. You still need to do Common App. You still need to go through Naviance, okay? College coaches, yes, they can help you get admitted by giving admissions, a heads up that you will be applying, but ultimately, admissions is the one that, accepts or denies you. The college coaches cannot do that. They don't have that power, unfortunately. Playing a college sport is far different than a high school sport. College athletes, you need to have that passion, you need to have that desire that you're willing to give everything it takes to be a college athlete. It's a privilege to be a college athlete. Not everyone gets that opportunity. Such a small amount of students go and play, Division I, II, and III sports, and that's an honor, and you should be really proud of that. Okay? This is something that just doesn't come easy, but it's going to take a lot of hard work from you, but I promise you it's going to be worth it in the end. And enjoy the journey. Like I said, I can't talk enough about it because the experience that you'll get from the college athletic standpoint is far beyond anything that you would get just from being, a typical student at a college. So put your heart and soul into this because you'll have the time of your life if you, are willing to give that extra to be a college athlete. It really is an incredible experience. Do we have any questions about that? I'm sure there's a lot about, the contact. Yeah. She just asked about the 999 code for the SATs, and if you take the SATs more than once. You can set your scores more than once. So the 999 code is, when you take the SATs, you have the opportunity to put in the college code where you want your test scores set. So the 999 is the college code for the NCAA. You can put the 999 on your SATs every time. If you forget to put that code on and you take the SATs, and now you're thinking, oh no, I didn't send my scores, you can always go back into your College Board account and then send the scores. I think there's a $15 fee or $10 fee if you take the test and then you want to send them, but that's always an option. But you can send them as many times as you would like. A B is a 3.0, an A is a 4.0, so it's A 4.0, B 3.0, C 2.0, D 1.0. Doesn't matter if you get an A+, a B+, a C-, whatever it may be. A C is a C, a C is a 2.0. Okay, so your core classes are math, science, English, and social studies. If you get an A, you get a 4.0, and that's it, okay? Their core, like I said, the core GPA is your 4 classes, and it's based off their GPA, not about the GPA that you get from Middletown. The question was, does this apply to community colleges? If you want to go from high school to a community college and then to a college for, Division I, II, or III athletics. Yes, NCAA you still need to be eligible through NCAA regardless of when you go. If you go to a community college, that's going to be Division III, so we don't need to be accepted or eligible through the NCAA. However, if we are to transfer, there was a slide about junior college transfers. Your GPA needs to be a 2.5 at the junior college to then be eligible to play Division I sports after your 2 years at the junior college. Okay, so then at the time you're ready to transfer, you then apply through to the NCAA to become eligible to play at the next college. Yes.
Can you talk about kind of a day in the life of a college athlete? What's it like?
So a day in the life of a college athlete. Okay, so I'll talk about my life as a field hockey player. Coming in August, you come in first day and you're the only one on campus. It's you, soccer players, and whoever else is on campus. It's amazing. You have the whole campus to yourself. You run the school for those 3 weeks, and then you have to move over because the rest of the kids come in. However, during that time, you wake up, it's preseason, triple sessions. All you do is eat, sleep, breathe your sport, okay? But it's the best time of your life. Team bonding to no end, okay? I had a wonderful experience in that, if we were beat and we were run down, my coach would tell us, come to practice with your sneakers on, and we're all thinking, oh no, we have a time mile tonight, no. And what does she do? She shows up with big bouncy balls so we can play, dodgeball or whatever it is. So there is that fun, there is a team bonding, okay? The team bonding, like I said, is so important. And that's what creates the connections on the field when we're competing. Okay, so we go to, triple sessions. We go back to the dining hall, we go back out to practice, we try to get a nap every once in a while. During school, now you have to manage your schoolwork with athletics. It does become challenging at times, absolutely. I can't, sugarcoat it and say that it's all a breeze and it's all fun and it's all, happy-go-lucky, but it is a challenge. But you have to learn to manage your time. And if you can learn to manage your time right now in high school, you're going to be okay for that college experience, okay? We wake up at 6 a.m. for, morning practice in the gym. Then we go to 8 a.m., lifting. Then we go to classes from 9 a.m. up until 4 p.m. We have practice 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. We go grab a bite to eat, and then we go back to the study hall, and then we go back to the dorms, and we do our homework together, okay? That is a typical day. It sounds like a lot, it sounds crazy, but there is time to breathe within those times, and there is time to eat eventually, in between practice and whatnot. It is crazy, it is busy, but it keeps you organized, it keeps you on track, and you need to learn to love that schedule. Like I said, you need to be passionate. The first slide here talked about passion, motivation, dedication, desire to be an athlete. If you have what it takes to be a college athlete, you're going to love the life. Okay, you will love that life because you get that experience that no one else on campus will get, okay? And you form a bond with other athletes on campus. You're walking around and people know who you are. You're kind of a big deal on campus when you're an athlete. They watch you compete, so they see you in this light, and it's a reward being able to, walk on campus as an athlete. But like I said, it does take a lot of hard work, and it does take a lot of dedication and passion for, to be on that team a lot of time. A lot of schools insist on you doing study hours, and you must have, 20 study hours a week. So there you go, you have practice, you have class, now you have to go to study hours. A lot of times you have to punch in just like it's a job, and you need to get your study hours. If you don't get your full study hours, then you are in trouble with, the school athletic department. And you may not be eligible to practice a game if you're not, practice a day. If you're not eligible to practice a day, that now, gets in the way of competing in the next, that weekend's game. So it is very important. It is a job. It is a full-time job. But if you're up for the challenge, it is such an amazing experience. So she asked, once you're in and once you're eligible, is there requirements for you to stay? A lot of times that deals with the college requirements, but also the NCAA. When you go, when you register and you go for your first day on campus, you will have an eligibility meeting with one of the eligibility people in the athletic department, and they will give you a list of guidelines that you must follow to remain eligible throughout your time there. You must have 12 credits as a freshman. It's something like 18 credits after your freshman year, 20 some odd credits after your sophomore year, and you need to meet the credit requirements to become eligible for the next year, okay? So if you fail courses, if you drop courses, if you withdraw from courses, that affects your eligibility for the next year. So you do need to, keep your grades up and keep the credits coming in for you to remain eligible. You need to be considered, a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior each year along the way. Sometimes, I know football has a little bit different of requirements from the NCAA, but for the most part, the rest of the sports are the same, and you need a certain amount of credits to remain eligible throughout your time in college. So walk-ons can be considered a person who is actually recruited and not getting scholarship money, and the coach said, I'll allow you to walk on, I'll allow you to try out the first 5 practices, of season, and then we'll decide if we'll take you on. We don't necessarily have a roster spot yet, but we'll give you the opportunity to try out. Some teams, depending on the team size, and if they're looking for, to expand their team, they'll have open tryouts. And anyone can just walk onto the field, literally walk onto the field, try out, and if they have what it takes, they'll get a roster spot, okay? And like I said, could you imagine walking onto a field, never talking to a coach, performing, spilling your guts out on the field, proving that you deserve a spot on the team, and then getting a scholarship the next year? The possibilities are incredible for walk-ons, okay? If you prove yourself that you deserve that spot on the team, the coaches will be, likely to give you a scholarship the next year or the following year, depending on your success. So yes, that is, walking on is a huge, advantage if you weren't recruited, okay? So just because you weren't recruited doesn't mean you won't play, Division I athletics. And even during the season, my junior year at college, we had a club team that just started, and girls are just getting together. My coach went and watched the practice and ended up taking a few girls onto our team. So these girls are just at their own practice, minding their business, and my coach goes out, picks them out, and brings them onto our team. And then they ended up winning the championship with us, and they're walking around with championship sweatshirts, and everything's great. But they had no idea, so they were walk-ons. Technically, we brought them on, but they were then considered walk-ons. But then they went on to be part of our team and do everything that the scholarship athletes got as well. Any other questions? Is that it? No more questions? Okay. Well, if you don't have any questions, you guys are more than welcome to email me if any questions come about. You can find my email online. My name is Kelly Chris. Thank you.